They don't miss your presence until your absence becomes louder than their distractions. You want to know the truth? They don't miss you when you leave. They miss you when something breaks inside them, and it's too late to fix what they ignored. That's the part nobody talks about. Not in movies, not in love songs, not even in therapy. But today, my friends, we're going to talk about it. Hey folks, imagine this. Imagine you're the flame keeping a room warm, but nobody notices until the fire burns out. They didn't say thank you when you were there, but they start to shiver the second you're gone. That's what this is. That's what you are, a source. And the problem is, most people only realize it after they've already blown out the match. They didn't miss you when you stopped texting. They didn't miss you when you got quiet. Because in their mind, you were still there, emotionally orbiting them, secretly checking their stories, waiting for the right moment to slide back in. But the moment that illusion cracks, that's when it hits them. Not your silence, not your distance, but the fact that you're no longer emotionally available. And my friends, there is nothing more powerful than becoming unreachable. Here's the lie they believed: you'll always be there. They thought you were just upset, that you'd come around, that you'd eventually fold like all the others. But what they didn't realize was that while they were out there chasing temporary highs, you were out here building permanent peace. There's a quote I love: you only realize what you had when what you had doesn't even look your way anymore. You see, people don't miss noise, they miss meaning. And the day you stop needing their validation, that's the day they start remembering your value. Not because you forced them to, but because life has a funny way of revealing what ego tried to ignore. And let me sprinkle a little humor in here. Some of y'all were out here texting like Shakespeare, writing sonnets at midnight, and still getting ignored like a bad ad. And now, you've gone full monk mode, full silent samurai, and suddenly they're squinting at your stories like, wait, why does he look healed? That's when the confusion sets in. That's when your growth starts whispering in places your words never reached. The old version of you would have explained, would have reached out, would have begged to be seen, but not anymore. You've stepped into something deeper, something stronger. And when they finally realize it, when the smoke clears and their distractions fade, they'll feel it. Not just the loss of a person, but the loss of peace, depth, and security. This journey isn't about revenge, it's about rising. You don't get even, you get better. You don't seek closure, you create clarity. That's the Stoic way. That's the way of the man or woman who no longer needs to scream to be remembered. Your silence is your signature now, your presence unforgettable. So stay with me, because in this video we're going to break down the exact turning points, the very moments when they finally realize you were the one. And it's not because you said anything, it's because you said nothing. Comment below, I choose peace. Say it loud. Let it echo. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stick with me, because what's coming next is the part where they finally start to miss you. Number 1, they don't miss you until you stop reacting. The moment you stop reacting is the moment they start reflecting. They don't start missing you when you leave. They start missing you when you stop reacting, when your silence is no longer a pause, but a decision, when your absence isn't waiting for a response. It's moved on. That's the moment the echo begins. And here's the raw truth most people can't accept. They weren't afraid of losing you. They were afraid of losing control over you. As long as you kept reacting, even if it was anger, sadness, or disappointment, they felt safe. Not because they loved you, but because they still had power. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're standing on a stage, always performing. You're giving monologues of emotion. You're responding to every look, every text, every breadcrumb they throw your way. And they sit in the audience, arms crossed, emotionless, unbothered, knowing that you'll always give them a show. But one day, the stage lights go dark. You stop the show. No more monologues, no more reactions. And suddenly, the silence in that empty theater gets deafening. They're sitting there, staring into darkness, wondering where the spotlight went. That's when it begins. That's when they start missing you. Because up until then, they weren't missing you. They were managing you, your emotions, your presence, your availability, your loyalty. The moment you stop responding to their coldness, their games, their half-hearted messages, that's when they lose their grip. And let me ask you something, my friends. What are they really missing? Is it your love, or the fact that you were emotionally predictable? See, the lie they believed is the same lie many of us believe in the beginning, that our reaction proves our worth. That if we just show them we care enough, hurt enough, bleed enough, they'll see our value. But in truth, reaction doesn't equal love. It equals availability. And availability without appreciation becomes emotional slavery. That's the trap. They ask themselves, why aren't you mad? Why didn't you check in? Why didn't you fight for me like before? And the answer, my friends, is simple. Because you learned. You woke up, you finally saw the game for what it was, and instead of playing it, you put the board away and walked out of the room. And here's where the fear hits them. Not because you're gone, but because you're gone and okay. You're gone and peaceful. You're gone and building. You're not throwing digital tantrums. You're not watching their stories. You're not liking their passive-aggressive posts. You're not texting their friends asking about them. You're just still, and that stillness, it's the loudest thing they've ever heard. You might ask yourself, why is this so hard for them to process? Because most people aren't used to being cut off from emotional supply. We live in a world addicted to attention. And you were their quiet drug, your consistency, your loyalty, your need to explain. It fed them even when they didn't deserve it. And now that it's gone, they don't feel punished. They feel starved. Let me break this illusion. They didn't move on because they were over you. They moved on because they assumed you'd still be around in case they ever wanted you again. You were the emergency exit, the fallback, the emotional safety net they never had to thank. And now that you're not responding, not reacting, not reaching, they feel the floor collapse. That's when they realize, oh no, they're not watching anymore. And folks, let me tell you something beautiful. When you reach that moment where your peace is more important than their presence, you win. That's the win nobody sees. That's the victory that doesn't come with applause, but comes with power. That's when you stop being a character in their story and start becoming the author of your own. You're no longer here to be chosen. You're here to choose. And you chose peace. You chose silence. You chose to stop reacting because you finally realized you were never meant to fight for someone who made you feel like a war. So let them wonder. Let them replay old messages. Let them stalk your stories and see nothing. Let them hear your name through mutual friends and wonder how you're doing so well. Because you've mastered the greatest Stoic lesson of all, what you do not feed dies. And you, my friend, stopped feeding the drama. Here's something Epictetus said that hits deep. If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. But not anymore. Your mind is clear. You're not provoked. You're not baited. You're not moved by someone who couldn't move with you when it mattered. And now, your lack of reaction is the most powerful reaction of all. Your calm is more haunting than any angry rant. Your growth is more unforgettable than any apology they never gave. Because here's the twist. They'll never admit it. Not directly. But you'll see it in the shift, the curiosity, the silence they send you this time. Because they don't miss what you did for them. They miss how your presence made them feel safe until you stopped offering it. So let them sit in the stillness. Let them feel what you felt all those nights you waited for effort. Let them chase the ghost of who you were while you become someone new, someone healed, someone whole. Drop a comment right now. My silence has power. Say it, show it, be it. Let your comment section be the place where people feel their turning point, because this right here is the moment you stop giving them access to your emotions. From here on out, you rise, not to impress, but to evolve. And stay with me, because what comes next in this journey, oh, they're not ready for that part. They're not ready for what happens when you become unreachable. But it's coming, and when it does, it won't just shake them, it'll redefine you. Number 2, they don't miss you until the ego fades. They don't realize what they lost until the applause stops and the silence starts asking questions their ego can't answer. When they walked away, they weren't sad, they weren't broken, they weren't missing you, not yet. They were standing on top of their ego, wearing pride like a crown, convinced they'd done the right thing, that they could replace you, that you'd chase, that they could come back whenever they felt like it, because in their mind, you'd always be right there, emotionally kneeling at the altar of what could have been. But ego is loud and stupid. It tells them they're winning while they're actually walking away from the very thing that gave their life peace. And it's easy to feel powerful when you're surrounded by distractions, by friends hyping you up, by temporary attention that feeds your vanity but starves your soul. That's what happens in the beginning. They get high off the silence they created. They think they're finally free. They think you're just another chapter. But my friends, chapters end, legacies don't. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine someone throwing away a diamond in a room full of glass. At first it sparkles, it shines, it all looks the same in the light. But over time the glass cuts, it shatters, it shows its weakness. And then they remember the weight, the depth, the clarity of what they used to hold. That's you. You weren't a sparkle, you were the foundation, and they threw it away to chase the glitter. See, the ego doesn't care about truth. It only cares about image. It tells them, you don't need them. You deserve better. Look how quiet they are. They must be hurting. But here's the twist. You were hurting. You just didn't perform it. You didn't post cryptic quotes. You didn't beg. You didn't plead. You just went silent. And that silence, it didn't scream. It whispered. But it whispered truth. And nothing makes the ego more uncomfortable than truth whispered in stillness. At first, they laugh it off. He's probably just giving me space. They just trying to make me jealous. But the days pass, and you don't reach out. You don't fold. You don't fall into the pattern. And suddenly, the voice in their head isn't their ego anymore. It's regret. It's realization. It's the ache of knowing they lost someone who was never trying to be remembered. They were just being real. They look around and see the people they chose instead, louder, more dramatic, more available, but also less safe, less calm, less grounded. And one day, out of nowhere, they pause. Not because someone told them to, but because the illusion cracked. They no longer feel powerful. They feel empty. And that's when the ego fades. That's when it drops the act. That's when silence turns into sorrow. They thought moving on was about proving they didn't need you. But now, they're realizing moving on was just escaping accountability. They didn't move on from you. They ran away from being seen. And now, they feel the void, not just of a person, but of a presence. Your consistency, your calm, the way you brought order to their chaos without needing anything in return. They miss that, and not because they want to admit it, but because life doesn't let you forget people who gave you peace without performance. But you're not the same anymore. You're not angry. You're not sad. You're clear. You've built a version of yourself that doesn't seek validation through attention. You're not interested in revenge. You're invested in rebirth. And that, my friend, is what haunts them, because they didn't just lose someone who cared, they lost someone who evolved. Here's the truth they never expected. It wasn't your affection that made you powerful. It was your detachment, the fact that you could love deeply, then walk away with dignity when it wasn't respected. That's what shakes them. That's what makes them scroll through your page and realize, damn, they really moved on, without a goodbye, without a scene. And now the echo of your silence is louder than all the noise they ran to. If you're feeling this moment, if you've stopped reacting, stopped explaining, stopped fighting battles that were never yours to begin with, drop a comment right now. I choose dignity over ego. Show them, show yourself, show the world that your peace isn't performative, it's permanent. And stay with me, because what's coming next? It's the part where you become unreachable, and that, my friends, is where the real power begins. Number 3. They don't miss you until you become unreachable. You are not missing, you are just no longer within reach. And that difference is what breaks them. In the beginning, they don't notice. They're too caught up in the noise, too high on distraction, too drunk on attention that doesn't last. They think you're just taking space, that you'll circle back, that your silence is just another part of the dance. They think they've seen this script before, that you're still emotionally accessible, just lurking in the background, watching their stories, waiting for a sign. But then something shifts. Slowly, quietly, fatally. You stop orbiting, you stop lingering, you stop being available, not just physically, but energetically. And that's when the panic creeps in, not because you're silent, but because you're no longer reachable. You've gone somewhere they can't follow. You've left the emotional door open for too long, and now it's closed, locked, and they don't have the key anymore. Let me give you a picture, folks. Imagine someone walking through a museum, rushing past a masterpiece. They glance, they scoff, they think, I'll come back to it later. But when they finally circle back, the exhibit's gone, taken down, moved to a different country, no notice, no explanation, just gone. And suddenly they're standing in front of an empty wall, wishing they had just looked a little longer, stood a little closer, valued it while it was still there. That's you. You weren't loud, you were art. And now, they don't even know where to find the frame. In the beginning, they mistook your silence for weakness. They thought you were playing games. They thought you were trying to make a point, but you weren't doing any of that. You were healing, building, returning to yourself. And now, you've gone beyond their reach, and that is when they finally feel the emptiness they created. They start checking, quietly, stalking your feed, looking for your name in mutual stories, hovering over your profile picture, wondering if you've moved on. They won't admit it out loud. They'll act like they don't care. But the silence hits different now, because it's not just quiet, it's closed off. You see, they thought you'd always leave the door slightly cracked, just enough for them to sneak back in whenever they felt lonely, nostalgic, or bored. But now they realize they can knock all they want, and no one's answering. That emotional safety net they took for granted, gone. That quiet loyalty you offered without needing recognition, gone. That open line to your soul, disconnected. And here's the most beautiful part. They don't miss the version of you that was chasing. They miss the version of you they can no longer have. Because let's be honest, my friends, your value didn't rise when you left. Your value was always there. They just didn't see it until it stopped showing up in their life like clockwork. Until you stopped replying with heart and started replying with nothing at all. Most people confuse missing someone with missing the attention, the access, the control. But what they miss now is your presence, your calm, your ability to make them feel seen without needing anything in return. And when that's gone, it's not silence, it's deafening. They ask themselves, why didn't they come back? Why aren't they watching? Why does this feel permanent? Because it is. Because the version of you that was once reachable doesn't live there anymore. You upgraded, you evolved, you outgrew the pattern, and now they don't know how to reach you because you're not playing the same game. Hell, you're not even in the same arena anymore. There's a quote I love: "Sometimes people don't recognize your worth until they're locked out of your peace." That's what's happening. They're locked out. They're stuck watching you through the glass. And it's cold on their side, not because you pushed them out, but because they never stepped in fully when the door was wide open. Let's be clear, you didn't become unreachable out of spite. You did it out of self-respect. You didn't cut them off to teach them a lesson. You simply stopped making yourself emotionally available to someone who mistook your kindness for permanence. And that is what they miss the most. Not just the access, but the privilege of it. If you've stepped into this phase, where you're no longer waiting, hoping, or even wondering, type this in the comments right now. I've closed the door. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world around you that peace isn't just something you protect, it's something you become. And stay with me, because the next part of this journey, it's when your evolution starts showing, not as revenge, but as rebirth. And that's when they realize you didn't vanish, you transformed. Number 4, they don't miss you until they see you're better. Nothing makes them miss you faster than seeing the version of you they never believed you'd become without them. Let's get real for a second. They don't miss you when you're quiet. They don't miss you when you disappear. They don't miss you when you're hurting. In fact, they expect that. They assume you're off somewhere, sitting in your room, overthinking, scrolling through old texts, wondering what went wrong, maybe even hoping they'll reach out. That's the story they tell themselves, because that's the version of you they want to believe still exists, the one they could walk away from and return to whenever they felt like it. But then, something happens. You get better, not louder, not pettier, not more reactive. Better. Silently. Consistently. Authentically. They see it first in the way you move, not through a dramatic glow-up montage or some forced social media campaign to show you're thriving. No, it's subtle, it's real. Your posture changes, your face looks clearer, there's a calm in your presence that wasn't there before. You're not just surviving, you're sharpening. And that, my friends, is the moment they start to feel it. Not because you tried to make them feel it, but because for the first time, they're not the center of your world anymore. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine they're scrolling through their phone late at night, not looking for you, just scrolling, and then, bam, your name pops up. Maybe it's a mutual post. Maybe someone reposted your progress. Maybe you showed up without even trying to. But what hits them is the difference. You look lighter, not because you're with someone new, but because you finally look like someone who doesn't need anyone. Your smile doesn't ask for attention. It radiates self-trust. Your vibe doesn't scream, "I'm trying to move on." It whispers, "I already have." And that's when their chest tightens. That's when the narrative in their mind starts to crack. Because you're no longer the version of you that begged. You're no longer sending energy in their direction. You're no longer reacting to breadcrumbs. You're no longer asking for closure, for answers, for a sign. You became your own sign. And now, they're watching a version of you they never thought they'd lose. That's the sting. Because when they left, they expected you to unravel. They expected your identity to dissolve without their validation. But you didn't fall apart. You reassembled, and not into some knockoff version of your past self, but into someone more powerful, someone focused, someone at peace. You became someone whose worth isn't spoken, it's felt. And you know what? That's exactly when the thoughts creep in, the what-ifs, the regret, the slow, creeping realization that they didn't just lose a person, they lost the moment in time when they were still allowed to be close to you. Because now, they don't know how to approach you anymore. The door is there, but it's heavier. Your presence is still, but it's elevated. You're no longer standing where they left you. You moved up, quietly, without announcement, without revenge, without asking for applause. This is where most people get confused. They think healing means proving a point, that posting a gym selfie or flaunting a new fling is what growth looks like. But real growth, real transformation, it's not loud, it's not desperate. It's the version of you that walks into a room and doesn't need to be seen because your energy speaks before you do. And folks, let me tell you, when they see that, when they see you've turned your silence into strength, your heartbreak into discipline, your waiting into self-mastery, that's when they miss you, not the old you, but the new you they'll never have access to. Let them feel it, not out of spite, out of sovereignty. Let them sit in the space you used to fill and realize that your peace was never something they gave you, it was something they drained. And now that you've reclaimed it, they're not just missing a person, they're mourning a version of themselves that felt whole because of your presence. If this is the season you're in, if you're rising in silence, healing without permission, and building without bitterness, drop a comment right now. I got better quietly. Let them see it. Let yourself feel it. Let the world know that your glow wasn't born from revenge, it was born from release. And stay with me, because what's coming next? It's the phase where their distractions stop working, and that's when the echoes of your absence start haunting every loud room they enter. Number 5. They don't miss you until their distractions fail. They don't miss you when they're entertained. They miss you when the noise fades and you're still not there. At first, it looks like they're fine. You step away, you go silent, and they don't flinch. They're laughing louder, posting more, surrounded by people, places, and noise. You see them out with friends, uploading stories like they've never been lighter, never been happier, and a part of you wonders, did they ever care? But my friends, don't be fooled. You're not watching their healing, you're watching their distraction phase. And every distraction has an expiration date. See, this is how it works. They don't feel the silence right away. It takes time, because in the beginning, they flood the gap you left with everything temporary. More parties, more messages, more meaningless conversations with people who don't even touch the surface of who they are. It's like throwing glitter on a deep wound. Pretty for a second, but useless once the light fades. Because underneath the fun, underneath the followers, underneath the forced smiles, there's still the absence of you. And here's the twist. It's not just your presence they miss, it's what your presence did for them, the grounding, the comfort, the safety, the stillness. Because while everyone else is chasing attention, you were holding space. You were the calm in the chaos, and no matter how much noise they throw at that emptiness, there comes a moment when the silence still wins. It happens slowly, quietly. One night, they're out with friends, laughing at something that isn't even funny. The music is loud, the drinks are flowing, and yet something feels off. Something's missing, not in the room, in them. And suddenly, their heart doesn't match the scene. That's when it hits, not like a thunderclap, more like a whisper in a loud place. This isn't peace. This is distraction. They scroll through their phone and see 10 unread messages, but none of them feel like you. None of them carry the depth, the safety, the energy. They smile at a joke, but it doesn't hit. They hear a song that once made them feel free, but it now feels empty. The faces around them blur, the voices fade, and your silence, it gets louder. Because you see, you were never just someone to talk to, you were someone they could feel, even in silence, even without trying. And when they tried to replace that with dopamine and chaos, they thought they were winning. They thought they escaped the weight of your presence, but all they really did was delay the echo. Let me break a lie right now. Just because they look happy doesn't mean they're healed. Just because they're with someone else doesn't mean they've found peace. People don't post their loneliness. They don't share their 2 a.m. regrets. They don't record the moment they realize that nobody makes them feel safe anymore. But it's happening quietly, right beneath the surface. And that's why you don't chase. That's why you don't break your silence just to check if they're missing you yet. Because missing you isn't about timing, it's about truth. And truth has a way of slipping through even the most carefully curated lives. You don't need to remind them. Life will. Life always does. They'll meet someone louder, but not safer. Someone funnier, but not deeper. Someone available, but not present. And over time, they'll stop comparing people to the memory of your face and start comparing people to the feeling you gave them. And that feeling, that's what they'll miss. That emotional steadiness, that rare kind of peace that doesn't ask to be seen. It just is. But by the time they realize it, you've already evolved. You've already reclaimed yourself. And your silence, it's not a punishment, it's a boundary. It's the quiet proof that you no longer feed what starves your soul. You're not ignoring them to hurt them. You've simply outgrown the need to be entertained by what no longer honors your depth. If you're in this season, if you're seeing through the noise, standing firm in your silence and choosing peace over performance, drop a comment right now. The silence is working. Let them hear it. Let yourself believe it. Let the world see that you're not here to play games. You're here to grow. And stay with me, because what's coming next? That's the part where memory hits them like a mirror. And they won't just miss you, they'll feel the weight of everything they couldn't replace. Number 6. They don't miss you until memories hit uninvited. The past doesn't knock, it crashes through the silence when they least expect it. They don't miss you when they're busy, not when they're surrounded by noise, not when they've got 10 new messages, 5 new distractions, and a weekend full of artificial laughter. They don't miss you when they're being entertained. They miss you when life slows down, when it gets quiet, when memory slips through the cracks in their distractions. And that's when it hits, not with drama, not with fireworks, but with the cold, sharp clarity of what used to be. See, memory is a quiet assassin. It doesn't announce its arrival. It doesn't wait for permission. It shows up mid-scroll, mid-laugh, mid-sentence, uninvited and unrelenting. One moment they're living in their new world, the next moment they're back in yours. All it takes is a trigger, a song, a scent, a phrase someone says in passing, and just like that, time folds. Suddenly, they're not on that date with someone new. They're not in the club. They're not in the gym. They're back in the passenger seat of your car. You're driving with one hand, windows down, music low, and the world didn't matter because you were peace. They hear that same song again, and this time it doesn't feel exciting. It feels like a ghost whispering through the speaker. Remember this? It wasn't just the big things. It was the rituals. The way you said good morning, the way you used to sit in silence and somehow still made them feel heard, the hoodie you always wore, the way you looked at them when they weren't performing. They didn't just lose a partner, they lost a rhythm, a feeling, a home, and they didn't want to remember. That's the part that hurts the most. They tried not to. They tried to move on. They tried to bury you under busy schedules and new faces and louder distractions. But memory doesn't care about effort. It cares about impact. And when you were real, when your energy lingered long after your words stopped, that's what memory clings to. That's when it strikes. And you, my friend, you didn't plant this on purpose. You weren't being manipulative. You weren't hoping they'd remember. You weren't setting traps in the timeline. You were just living. And that's what makes the memory hit harder, because it wasn't crafted to trigger. It was born from truth, from stillness, from presence. And those things, they're unforgettable. Here's the reality. Most people don't miss you for who you are now. They miss how they felt when they were with you. And when those feelings return, without warning, without filter, it breaks their illusion. They realize that no one makes them laugh like you did. No one makes them feel safe like you did. No one makes them feel known like you did. And suddenly, it doesn't matter how many better options they thought they had. because the emotional impact you left wasn't surface, it was soul deep. Let me ask you, have you ever had someone come back out of nowhere, weeks, months, even years later, saying, "I just thought of you today"? That's not random. That's residue. You didn't fade. You left fingerprints. And even if they tried to wipe them clean, life keeps bringing them back up like smudges on glass. The more they try to ignore it, the clearer it becomes. But by the time memory reaches them, you're already somewhere else. Not physically, spiritually, emotionally. You've detached not out of anger, but out of alignment. You don't wait for memories. You build futures. You're not stuck in what was. You're rooted in what is. And here's the twist. Your absence becomes more powerful than your presence ever was. Because now they have to feel you in silence. They have to remember you through shadows. They have to relive moments that are no longer accessible. That's not revenge. That's reality. That's the cost of taking someone real for granted. If you've reached this place, if your silence is sacred and your absence is felt louder than your presence ever screamed, drop a comment right now. I left a mark. Say it, show it, be it. Let the world know you don't have to be loud to be remembered. You just have to be true. And stay with me, because the next phase, that's when people start talking. Not because you reached out, but because your growth became the story. And that, my friends, is when your legacy begins to speak louder than any memory ever could. Number 7. They don't miss you until mutual friends mention you. You don't have to speak for your name to echo. Sometimes your growth does the talking. You're not in their life anymore. You've gone silent. No calls, no texts, no sudden check-ins to see if they're still thinking about you. You're not even on their radar, or so they think. Because while you've been busy living, healing, and rebuilding, something else has started to happen. Your name, it begins to resurface. Not from you, but from the outside world. And that's when it starts hitting them, not in a dramatic way, but subtly, uncomfortably, quietly, like a ripple they can't stop. They're not looking for you. But life has a funny way of reminding people who they thought they left behind. A mutual friend drops your name casually, maybe during lunch, maybe at a party, maybe in a comment like, "Yeah, he's been doing really well lately." Or maybe they see a picture from a mutual event they didn't expect you to be at, and suddenly, boom, there you are again. Not chasing, not checking in, just present, just showing up in places they didn't expect. And what's worse, you look at peace. It messes with them, because you're not saying a word, but somehow you're being talked about. That's what growth does. It starts traveling through the spaces your silence created. People notice the change. They feel the shift. They can't help but mention how different you seem now. More focused, more grounded, more you. And that hits different. Because now they don't just remember the version of you they walked away from. They're being reminded that you didn't stay there. You didn't stay in heartbreak. You didn't sit in the ruins. You built something new, quietly, silently, without ever needing to broadcast it. And now, your discipline, your glow, your clarity, it's showing up without you even trying. They start wondering, wait, why is everyone talking about him? Or, what's they been up to lately? I haven't seen anything. And that curiosity, that's the beginning of regret. Because nothing haunts someone more than realizing the one they discarded is now becoming someone unforgettable. And here's the best part. You're not trying to be remembered. You're not staging your growth for a comeback. You're not begging anyone to carry news back to them. But your progress is so real, so consistent, so grounded, that it becomes impossible not to mention. That's the power of silent growth. You don't have to scream to be seen. You just have to be undeniable. Let me break a lie real quick. You don't need to be on their feed to be on their mind. You don't need to pop up in their messages to pop up in their thoughts. Your evolution is your presence now. And when your name shows up in the mouths of others, calmly, respectfully, unexpectedly, it creates a discomfort they can't explain because they expected you to fall off. They expected you to stay wounded. They didn't expect this version of you. They smile on the outside. Maybe they act unbothered. Maybe they pretend your name doesn't hit like it does. But deep down, it does. It sticks. It loops. Because they didn't lose you at your best. They lost you before you became your best. And now they don't know how to process it. Because the person they thought was disposable is becoming rare. And that's not arrogance. That's not revenge. That's not a watch me win mindset. That's just what happens when you stop begging for closure and start building a legacy. When your name stops being a memory and starts being a message. So let them hear your name. Let it echo through conversations you're not even part of. Let your progress ripple through rooms they still walk in. Because the best version of you doesn't knock on old doors. He doesn't check if the past is watching. He just keeps walking forward, so loud in his silence, he becomes impossible to forget. If you feel this right now, if your name has started showing up in rooms your voice hasn't entered, drop a comment below. Let my growth speak. Let them see it. Let yourself believe it. Let the world witness what happens when silence isn't empty, it's evolving. And stay with me, because what's coming next, that's the moment they don't just hear your name, they feel it, not in their ears, in their chest. And by then, you're already too far ahead to look back. Number 8, they don't miss you until you've let go for real. The moment they feel your absence the most is the moment they realize you're never coming back. They don't miss you while you're healing. They don't miss you when you're quiet. And they definitely don't miss you when they still believe deep down that they could reach you if they wanted to. That's the lie they hold on to. That even if you're not saying a word, even if you've gone off the radar, you're still emotionally tethered to them somehow. Still checking, still hoping, still waiting. They sleep peacefully with that illusion until one day something feels different. The air shifts, the energy disconnects. They reach out with their thoughts, and you're just gone. Not physically, not digitally, emotionally, and that's when it hits. Because you didn't go silent to get a reaction. You didn't pull back just to watch if they'd notice. You didn't create distance to prove your worth. You let go, for real. And letting go isn't about deleting their number. It's about deleting the emotional space you used to reserve for them without asking for anything in return. It's about no longer carrying them in your decisions, in your daydreams, in your life. And the second they feel that, it's over. Let me tell you something, my friends. People don't miss you when you disappear. They miss you when they try to come back, and you're no longer the same person they left. They miss you when their text sits unanswered, when their name no longer triggers your heart rate. When the old version of you, the one who waited, explained, hoped, loved without being loved back, has evolved into someone they no longer recognize, someone they no longer have access to. Imagine walking through your favorite old bookstore. You go in expecting to find the same book you always loved, one that was always on the shelf waiting for you, even when you walked past it 100 times. But this time, it's gone, moved, sold, out of print. You ask about it and they say, it's not here anymore. And you feel that ache, that regret, that silent, brutal realization that you never appreciated it when it was in front of you. That's you now. You're not bitter. You're just not available anymore. That's what makes them miss you. Not the space you left behind, but the version of you that will never exist again. Because now you've healed. Not perfectly, not loudly, but deeply. You've stopped explaining, stopped justifying, stopped needing to be seen by people who were committed to misunderstanding you. You're no longer trying to be remembered. You're too busy becoming unforgettable, and they feel it. Not all at once, but in moments, in waves. They feel it when they scroll and don't see you, when they hear a song and don't have a place to send it, when they have a bad day and your name almost comes to mind, but they stop, because they know, deep down they know, you're not there anymore, not for them. It's haunting, not because you vanished, but because you didn't make a scene. You just grew, silently, relentlessly, like a tree that keeps reaching for the sun no matter who stopped watering it. That kind of transformation is impossible to forget, and it makes the heart ache in a way no words can fix, because they're not missing who you were. They're missing who you became after they lost you. You see, the old version of you would have run back at the first sign of regret. But this version has nothing to prove. You don't need closure. You don't need apologies. You don't need revenge. You've already won. Why? Because you stopped needing them to remember you and started remembering yourself. If you're standing in this space right now, calm, unbothered, unapologetically you, then you know exactly what I mean. You didn't just let go of a person. You let go of the version of yourself that tolerated less than you deserve. And that, my friend, is what makes you powerful beyond words. So if this journey has resonated with you, if you've been walking through the fire and finding your peace in the silence, I want you to drop a comment right now. I've truly let go. Write it with your chest. Let them feel it. Let the world see it. Show yourself. Show the version of you who used to need them that you don't anymore. And if this message spoke to your soul, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who's still learning to walk away with dignity. You never know whose breakthrough is waiting in your words. Stay with me. More is coming. But for now, your silence has already spoken.